Hello everybody, this is a quick video about how the coolant level check works on old VWs, like my LT over there, but it will probably be like similar for T3 or Polo or Golf. So it consists of several components. One is the sensor. It's very simple, it's just two electrodes sitting in the coolant. I have emulated that with just two wires sitting in some coolant. There's this relay, it says number 43. It can also say 42. I think 42 is like the successor of the 43, but they work the same or work similar. So it's not a relay actually, as you can see there's some electronics in there. It's like a dedicated chip and some other components. And of course the coolant gauge itself. So when you see this blinking, there can be several faults. I'm guessing the first one, if this will not go off, the first one of course is to check if you have indeed enough coolant. So if the level's okay in your coolant reservoir and the electrodes are touching it, then that's obviously not a problem. So the next thing you should do is check the wiring. You should follow the wiring from the electrode to the electronics, to the, let's call it relay over here, and see if those connections are good. If they're not, that's also an indication that there's something wrong with your wiring. So assuming that's all not a problem, this little guy over here can be the suspect. It can be wrong, it can be broken. But there's maybe like a way to see that. First we have to check this one out. So there's coolant present now, and I'll cycle the power. So this one starts up, just like when you put your keys in the ignition, it blinks for a little bit and then goes off. So this is the expected behavior. It should do this. If it doesn't do that, if it just keeps on pulsating, this thing is probably wrong. So the meter itself is wrong. There's a little capacitor in there of 10 microfarads, and when that is leaking, when it's broken, it will not stop the self-check. It will just continue to blink, and no matter what this electronic says about the coolant. So I'll just take this out real quick, like there's no coolant present, and I cycle the power again. So it will go off in a few seconds. Now it's off. And then, while there's no coolant present, at some point the electronics will tell them to start blinking again. See? So notice that there was a little pause where the LED was off. If that is happening, your meter, your gauge is probably right. So you shouldn't suspect this one. Then you should be looking at the electronics. Or the wiring, of course, but you have already checked that. So the way this thing works, it has 4 pins. It's basically just 12 volts, ground, and it has an output. The output of this relay, or you could call it the input. I think it says either G or, can't remember. I'll put the schematic somewhere. Anyway, the IC in there makes a pulse wave, which you can see over here. It's about 50 hertz, and right now I'm seeing 1.6 volts RMS. And this is basically, this is what goes to the electrodes over here. And if the electrodes touch the coolant, this will happen with the signal. So you can see the signal is gone now. So this way the electronics knows there's something wrong. And let me do that again. So I'm taking the coolant out. So the output of this thing is yeah, let's say a little switch, is a little transistor that will connect the output pin to ground, but for extremely short pulses. So it's not a continuous output, it will give little, very short pulses. So the sensor's still out. I'll have cycled the power, and in a little bit this one will start blinking. Sometimes it doesn't show on camera because it's so fast, but it will start blinking. So this is expected behavior. Also, when I put the sensor back over here, the output of this thing will not go off. It will just keep pulsating. And the only way to get rid of it is cycle the power. So the output goes to the same input as the temperature sensor of this very simple gog. The way this gog or meter, whatever, works is there's some heating wire and then bimetal or something, and it's extremely simple. Just by heating up a coil, the meter moves. And I guess this is why this is a pulsating output. So I'll bring both into picture and take out the sensor or the wires from the coolant. And in a little bit you will see the output of the electronics start pulsating, and the gog will do the same. So they start at the same time. Maybe you cannot see it right in the video, but they will. So this is the way the system should be working. If this thing is defective, it can either not trigger the coolant level sensor at all. It's a little bit hard to test. If you want to see the output, I guess you don't need to. You need an oscilloscope. You may not have one. And you cannot use a multimeter to check its output because it's a very short pulse. So you have to know what you're doing. Like a simple LED is good enough to check. Anyway, this is the way the system works. I hope I covered all, and maybe it helps you fixing up your system. So again, first check your coolant level, check your wiring. Also see if this one turns off after a while when you first power it on. And if that's all fine, probably this piece relay is broken, and you can like easily replace it. You don't need to test it, I guess. So I hope this helps. Good luck solving your problems.